Let us start with this. You have hit your peak. You have made it. You have climbed that mountain. But now what? Ever feeling like you have reached the top only to wonder what is next? This is the untold story we all face but rarely talk about. Today, we are plunging into one of life's biggest questions. What happens after you have reached your pinnacle? Have you prepared for the calm after the storm? Or is it more like a cliff? Welcome to After Peak. What? Where we break down life's most unexpected twist, the part that comes after success. Let me ask you, when you picture success, do you only see the top? You grind, you hustle, you climb, and then boom, you are there. But then what? Is life all downhill from here? Or is there another peak, another mountain waiting to be climbed? Are we so focused on the peak that we forget about everything that comes next? Are you living for the peak or are you ready for the journey after it? And let me add another twist. What if the peak you have been chasing is not even the one that truly matters? What if the real adventure begins once you have crossed that peak? What if the most exciting part of your life is the part you have not even considered yet? Think about it. After the peak, you can choose to rest or you can choose to rise again. Look at Elon Musk. He built PayPal, sold it, made millions, but he did not stop there. He went on to build Tesla, SpaceX, and so much more. Musk knew that reaching one peak was not even enough. There is always another challenge, always another mountain to climb. Success does not stop, it evolves. And so should we. Now imagine you are listening to this and you are thinking, I have hit my peak. I have achieved everything I set out to do. Well, congratulations. But don't get too comfortable. What is the next big thing for you? Because here is the truth. The moment you stop chasing new heights, you start slipping back down. Peaks don't last forever, but growth that is ongoing. Let us get personal for a second. You finish school, land your dream job, maybe even start a family. You have hit all the milestones. But then, what is the next goal? That feeling of having made it quickly turns into now what? It is because life does not end at the peak. The real test is what you do after you have reached the top. Do you stop or do you keep pushing forward? What is stopping you from redefining your next peak? It does not have to be career related. It could be personal growth, new hobbies, relationships, or even discovering a deep meaning to life. Life is a series of peaks, and the sooner we realize that, the more we can enjoy the journey between them. Don't just live for the peak, live for the climb, live for the moments after, and always be ready for the next peak. After the peak is when the real adventure begins. And it is not just about fame or sports. This happens in everyday life too. Take athletes, for instance. They train their whole lives for that one gold medal. The moment they get it, they are at the top of their game. But then many of them face this identity crisis. They wonder what to do next now that their biggest dream has fulfilled. It is like, is there another mountain to climb? The same thing happens in our life and in business. Entrepreneurs build empires, reach the pinnacle of success, and then ask themselves, what is my next step? It is important to understand that the peak is not the end, it is just a stop along the journey. You have got two choices when you reach it. Either you sit there and let the excitement fade, or look ahead and ask yourself, what is the next adventure? And that is where the real growth happens. The lesson here is that you cannot just live for the peak. You have got to live for what comes after it too. So question is, what are you living for? The peak or the journey beyond it? Are you prepared for life after you have reached your goals? Because stagnation is real and it is dangerous also. Peaks are great, but they are temporary. What keeps life meaningful is the momentum you create after reaching the peak. And what if? By focusing so hard on reaching one peak, we miss out on all the other opportunities along the way. You see, after the peak, it is all about refocusing. Life is not a straight path to one big success. It is a series of mountains, and every time you reach a peak, it gives you a new perspective. The question is, are you going to be content with that one peak, or are you ready to keep moving forward to find the next adventure? Let us bring in some big names. Think about elite athletes like Michael Jordan. He won multiple championships, but after he retired, he struggled. Why? Because he reached the peak, but what happens after that? The glory, recognition, all it fades. And here is the catch: success can sometimes feel empty when it all said and done. So the real challenge is not reaching the top, it is figuring out what comes next. Don't just live for the peak. The real adventure starts after you have hit your peak.